Well, Facebook. I know some of you might be pretty shocked right about now that this is Minister J. Dewees on Facebook, on my wife's page. And she had been asking me that, for me to take the time and come out and just give you a little update. She's been doing the updates. Everybody's been following Bridget, through all of our challenges with this health issue. And she's been keeping everybody informed. Well, it's time for me to let you know how good God is, how merciful He is. And I just wanted to say thank you all. So many of you have taken the time just to call my name while you were praying. So many of you have called my name at your church services, pastors, sisters, brothers, friends, in your meditation. Some of you turned your plate down, and I just want to let you know that I truly appreciate it. For I'm one to believe that the prayers of the righteous availeth much, and so I just wanted to take the time and say thank you all. First of all, I want to really give thanks to my wife, more than words that I can say, to show how I'm just my gratitude for her, just the time that she spent with me, and during the times that I really couldn't talk because of my sickness. She spoke for me, and God has just given her some added strength. And I just wanted to let her know that I am truly grateful, and I am truly appreciative, and I am blessed to have her as my wife. And let's just, if you all know the words of prayer, continue to lift Bridget up for prayer, because she could use it right now. Now that everything is getting better, I'm sure that the weight is kind of falling on her. So let's continue to lift her up in prayer. And I just wanted to kind of just call a few names, as I thought about my time while I was in the hospital. I just wanted to kind of give a shout out to my in-laws, especially to my mother-in-law, because she came down and she, took some of the load off of Bridget, spending time with Justin, and just, came down with her blessing all, and she rubbed my head and rubbed Bridget's head, and just begin to give God, seek God for us on our behalf. And so I wanted to say thank you, Mother. Thanks to my son Justin. He went through this in his own way, and I'm sure he prayed, I'm sure he cried, and I just thank God for giving him the strength that he needed as well. My father and my niece, they came by on several occasions, and also to my siblings. And I just want to give a shout out to Elder Abe and Sister Ty, and for your prayers and your time that you spent with me in the hospital, and also my cousin Neva and Roy Johnson, they came by. Thank you. And I just want to say thank you to also Minister O'Shea. This is a special young man. He came by, and not just one day, not just 2 days, several days came by and made sure I was okay, made sure I was comfortable, and just led us in a word of prayer. And I just want to say thank you, O'Shea. You're awesome. I had Minister Bullock, Tim Bullock, that came all the way from Atlanta and took some time and just kind of gave us some insight on understanding of of the gallbladder and the liver. So thank you, Minister Bullock. Reverend Kenny Shaw and Sister Bridget, thank you for your time. To Brother Fred and Sister Pam Wilder, for your time and your support. And you came by and you gave us that beautiful fruit arrangement. We took a picture of that, so I just want to let you know we demolished it after. But I just wanted to thank you for it. Also, my adopted cousins, Brother Jimmy and Sister Anita, anytime you want a good laugh, we can always count on them. They come by and lift us up. And last but not least, our Sister Phyllis Chavis, who drove all the way down from Columbia, which is very unusual. And so, really touched me and Bridget. Would you say? Yes. And we thank you all for, there's some names that I didn't call. I can sit here, I can continue to call on names. I said my in-laws, Sheila and Ray, Daryl and Dwight, different people. I can call on so many other names, but there are some names that just stood out for this time. God placed people in my life at that time that really understood the word of prayer and, lifted us up. And I just want to let you all know that I appreciate that. Yes, it was pretty scary. You know, when I went into the hospital on Wednesday, with the blood pressure dropped down 70/53. And by the time they loaded me up with all of that fluid, it had dropped down even lower. I had about 20 pounds of fluid loaded on me. And the doctors, I guess they assumed that once they gave me Lasix that I would, withdraw all that fluid. Well, not knowing that my organs were going to shut down. My liver count, normally at 10, skyrocketed to 4,000 to 5,000. And my kidneys stopped. Just the organs just were on the way. They were just about to stop. And, they gave me the Lasix and I was on a catheter. And they were shocked because they expected me to start releasing the fluids. Well, nothing was happening. And so, me and Bridget, we just began to believe God and trust God and, have faith in God. And we just started asking God to turn it around. Turn this thing around, Lord. And I was thinking of a story, the Lord dropped in my heart of Elijah when he went to Ahab to let Ahab know that, he was about to receive abundance of rain. And at that time they were in famine. And when Elijah went up to the mountain of Carmel, he just laid himself prostrate before the Lord and he just began to pray. And he told his servant to go look towards the sea and see if he saw something. And he came back and he says, I don't see anything out there. And he told him to go back out there about 7 times. And on the 7th time, he went out there and saw this small cloud in the form of a hand. And just that was enough for them to know that God was going to send this rain. And, me and Bridget, as we begin to pray and we begin to seek God and just trust God that he was going to turn this thing around, all of a sudden, here comes this small trickle of fluid that came and that dropped into the bag. And the doctors came in and said, well, there's a little bit of fluid. Because at that time, they were considering putting me on dialysis. And I was like, Lord, I do not want to go on dialysis. That would have been just too much for me, considering my family's past history. And we just wanted God to break the chains of that curse. And then not knowing later, another doctor came and said they were even considering giving me a liver transplant. So thank God we didn't know about all of that, but we just began to believe God. And all of a sudden, here comes this fluid just starting to flow out of my body. And overnight, I lost about 15 pounds of fluid overnight. And then, just the organs started coming back and everything started, working as normal. And let me tell you something. If you don't believe in the power of prayer, look at me. I am a miracle. God has healed my body. God has brought me back from the dead. God has turned my life around in so many ways. And who am I to ask God why? God did it. He allowed it to happen for this purpose. And so I'm not going to hold you up. I'm not a long speaker anyhow, but I just wanted to just give you some encouraging words to let you know, trust God, believe God. He's the same God as he was before the days of old. He's the same God now. Let your faith prove his work. Let your faith prove him. Believe him. Trust him. I'm a living witness. And you know what? I'm stepping out of my comfort zone, and this is one example of it. Because I said Facebook is not a place that I feel comfortable. But I said, you know what? God wants me to open up my mouth. He wants me to cry aloud, and he wants me to spare not. He wants me to lift up my voice like a trumpet in Zion. Let everybody know that the God we serve is able. There is nothing too hard for God. If you don't remember anything else, remember that. There is nothing too hard for God. Keep believing him. Keep trusting him. Keep Bridget and Jay up in prayer. And just see what God is going to do. You be blessed.